statement, Reverend, did the Eagles make beating the Commanders last night?
You know, when you're watching it and you're looking at it, the first half obviously was kind of, you know,
slow.
It was slow, but it was one-sided as far as Washington goes. They was kind of dominating the first half. But then the second half, obviously, things picked up. Saquon Barkley and company decided to do their thing, and they sent the message to the NFC, to the 49ers, and to the Lions to let them know we here, we getting back to form. We signed the right person in Saquon Barkley who, you know, adds something to the quarterback position, even though he's the running back. Mm-hmm. He's like the guy who loosens up Jalen Hurts.
Explain how.
Because when you got a strong running game and you're a quarterback, you can then be able to deal and do the things you're capable of doing because they can't just key in on him. They got to worry about now. You basically got a two-headed monster back there.
Right.
It's almost like Derrick Henry and Lamar, where you can't just focus in on Lamar when Derrick is in the game. Now, all of a sudden, you don't know which way. You know, you think about it. They went to the at one point in the game, it was fourth down or third and inches, or maybe it was fourth and inches, and everybody assumed they was going to do the little tush push.
Right.
Well, he just flipped it out. They pinched in. Everybody pinched in, and all he did was just boom. They turned the corner, first down, keep it moving.
Bailed on the booty.
That's because of what that running back position now does.
Yeah, the message was loud and clear for me, you know, because I had questions. Yeah, they won 6 in a row or 5 in a row prior to this game, but they haven't really played anybody of quality, for real. And I was like, you know, Washington, this will be a big test. I love what Jayden Daniels has been doing, just the resurgence of the culture in Washington. And Philadelphia, with their backs against the wall, you know, they don't play. They play different styles every game, but with their backs against the wall, they came through in that fourth quarter. And obviously, you understand what Saquon Barkley is doing for this ball club, a tremendous boost. Jalen Hurts, solid all around. So yeah, this was a loud and clear statement for me.
Yeah, I think the Eagles are looking like contenders again. They had some moments throughout the beginning of the season where we were like, is this stuff lingering from last year? Are they still going to have issues with Sirianni and Hurts? And they seem to have corrected all that. And when they are at their highest level and operating the way that they are a very tough team to beat. They can overcome adversity mid-game, which is always a good thing. I do think that somebody probably had a little talking to with the kicker at some point. Maybe not the same way that Keyshawn does, but that's going to be a problem down the stretch if he doesn't correct that.
Kickers, though, they tripping.
It's been a rough year for kickers. But Jalen Hurts looks...
Thank God Debo wasn't on that sideline.
Or Keyshawn Johnson. Although the Reverend might have handled it differently.
I mean, what Debo did to his kicker and his
long snapper. That was
the long snapper, yeah. The long snapper took the physicality for the kicker. Yeah. But no, they definitely sent a statement. I mean, this is a team that, led by Jalen Hurts, went to a Super Bowl.
Yes.
So this is not a team that you can overlook when you're talking about contenders. Like the Lions, contenders, obviously. San Francisco, contenders. But the difference between San Francisco, the Lions, and the Eagles is only 2 of those teams have actually broken through and got to the Super Bowl.
Right.
So this is a big statement for the Eagles to get this win because, as we talked about yesterday, and you know, there's some pushback on you only play who's on your schedule. As Paul says, I haven't seen a signature win. Would you call this a signature win for the Eagles?
This is a signature win. This is what I need to see. But the road ahead, I'm looking at the road ahead now. It's going to be a lot of statement games coming up. You got the Rams who, you know, they could beat anybody on any given night. Baltimore right after that.
I like the Rams, but I need us to stop saying they can beat anybody all the time.
I mean, at home.
I just want us to stop that because they can't just beat anybody. They get lucky.
Any given day. I mean, come on. Then you got the Ravens after that. I mean, these next 3 weeks is really going to tell me a little bit more about the Eagles.
3 weeks? Man, they got the Panthers in there, Paul.
I get it. I'm saying, no, yesterday.
Oh, you mean you counting yesterday?
Yeah, I'm counting yesterday.
Okay, I'm about to say.
Commanders, Rams, and
Baltimore. This is going to be that take a look in the mirror next couple games and really find out who you really are.
Well, Saquon had a huge game last night and closed it out with 2 long touchdown runs in less than a minute during the fourth quarter. Eagles fans showed their appreciation for Saquon after the game.
Thank you, Giants.
That's a Carissa. Yeah. Thank you, Giants.
Thank you, John. I mean, he was being wasted. Saquon was being wasted
1,000%.
in a New York Giants uniform. You look at him, I mean, even if they had him this year,
1,000%.
they not going nowhere. They still not going nowhere.
Isn't it such a good lesson sometimes, though, that like the thing you think you want and the place you think you want to stay, and then you end up in a much better situation?
1,000%.
Absolutely.
He's been incredible for them. Has he been the difference for the Eagles, though, this year?
I mean, he's been the difference. I mean, absolutely.
We had a debate about the in the meeting earlier. So.
I mean, listen. I don't think we've talked about Saquon enough. We've been marveling over Derrick Henry and all the things he did, but when you look at it statistically, Barkley is number one rush attempts, rushing yards, and third in TDs amongst between him and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
That's who I'm comparing to. I mean, these two are the two elite. They play on two elite ball clubs, but he is a dual threat. And then I just feel like at any given moment, I've seen it week in and week out, that he can just break the game open.
Yeah.
And that's what he's doing. And that's what's making him the difference.
I think overall he's been a huge difference maker and has played a huge role. He has elevated what the Eagles had put together during that Super Bowl run and needed to reconstruct this year. The defense has regrouped tremendously.
Yes.
I can't emphasize enough how much the defense dropped off from the Super Bowl year to last year. It was off a cliff. The coaching obviously was not aligned, wasn't the right hires. They had to make a lot of adjustments last year. And Jaylen clearly wasn't healthy through the totality of the season.
Okay.
So I think the combination of all those things and then adding a playmaker that has the explosive nature and the breakthrough nature that Saquon has really put them back into the contender space. But what Saquon also brings is this star factor. Yeah. It's not just that he's good. He's been the guy on a team as a running back, which is really significant. So those plays, that little move, get away from the safety, and then only stars can do that. There's one thing to be able to put in replacement running backs here and there and get a good run game going. He has the ability to create magic. Like we saw with the hurdle play, but multiple times last night, he was doing things that only he can do and only a star running back can do.
If he, much like Christian McCaffrey for the 49ers, if he stays healthy, the Philadelphia Eagles can find themselves in the Super Bowl again. Because what he does, as I mentioned earlier, is he loosens things up for the quarterback. He's the quarterback's best friend. I mean, you can't key in on the QB. And if you load the box to try to stop him, now you got Devontae out there on an island. You got A.J. Brown out there on an island. So if you make the decision that you're going to go 8-9 men in the box, you leave everybody else exposed. And that's exactly what he was doing when they made the run at the Giants, when they made their little playoff run, they beat Minnesota. It was because of him. It wasn't because of no damn Daniel Jones, okay? It was because of him. And his ability in the backfield is the reason they paid Daniel Jones. And they missed that boat, right? They decided to say, okay, the quarterback over the running back. And you heard the Philadelphia Eagles fans sitting right there cheering, thank you to the Giants. And I know, like you said, Paul, if he was in New York, what is it? It's a wasted talent. But as a general manager, president, owner of a team, and you sitting in a box or you sitting at home watching this game, you got to be sitting there saying to yourself, what did we do? Why did we make this decision? You really have to be thinking about that because you're going to constantly be reminded, especially in New York City. I don't even know what the back pages look like today, but I'm sure something is linking the Philadelphia Eagles and Saquon Barkley to the Giants in their newspapers today.
But to your point about him helping the quarterback, if you were going to pay the quarterback, you got to retain the guy that helped supplement what the quarterback did and make him better.
Sometimes you get food and you think it's the quarterback and not that guy.
Yeah.
I mean, clearly that's clearly that's what happened, and that's what they're watching now. On the Washington side, with 8 minutes left in the game, Dan Quinn opted not to try a 43-yard field goal to take the lead. Instead, Jayden Daniels was stopped on a broken play, and the Eagles ran away with the game after that. Quinn acknowledged after the game that it was a, quote, bold call. So did Dan Quinn lose the game for the Commanders with that decision?
I don't think he lost the game. There's plenty of time still left, but you obviously want to go up 13-12 at that point in time. If you can, just kick the field goal and go up 13-12. But he felt like, okay, I need to put them away. And it was it would have probably been a much easier play had the right guard not pulled at the same time to snap. The right guard got out kind of fast, so Jayden, between the guard being there and him trying to catch the ball, it was like a bobble, and all it takes in the National Football League is just a split second, and things will just completely break down on you. That's all it takes, and that's what happened to him. And he wasn't going to beat the defenders to the edge because they was already headed that way anyway.
Right.
They was already overloaded on their side, and he just wasn't going to get there.
Yeah, I'm with all these plays, it's like you convert and you look like a genius. You don't, and you lost the game.
I'm taking the points, though.
I'm taking the points as well.
On the road,
I
I'm
can't
taking the
say that
points.
he lost the game,
No, I
but
can't say that either.
it was definitely a big momentum.
Man, kick that field goal, Paul. I don't want to hear that.
No, listen.
What you mean?
When
Listen.
you got a dynamic quarterback like Jayden Daniels, come on, who can use his arm and his legs, and you go for it. And another thing, you're on the road. So you could take more risk on the road.
No, you don't want to take risk on the road. You want to take risk at home.
No, you take the risk on the road. You be a little more conservative at home because you know your home field, you play better. Listen to this stat.
Glad you ain't my coach.
Washington, you know what Washington is? They're third in the league on fourth down conversion.
I understand.
They're 12 or 14 in the league.
Yeah.
12 or 14 on third down conversion.
7 minutes to go in the game.
You
That's
go
real
for
smart.
that. You go for that.
With
This
7
is what
minutes
you
to go.
guys do. Why go away from what you actually do?
Well, situational football is important, and that's why I hear you on like not going away from your identity and all those things. But this could end up determining the division. So
The division, your seeding, everything.
They make the field goal. All right, they still lose the game. I mean,
How?
that's
Why?
They go up one.
Yes, and that 1 point, just that little bitty 1 point, will make Philadelphia play differently. How they call a game. Remember, it's all about how you call a game.
Right.
Are we going to now, we down by 1, or we going to start just throwing all over the place? Or we going to run the ball? It makes you do things different.
But I'm just a believer you play the way you play. That's them.
Are we going to start using that? You play the way you play?
That's who they are.
You play to win the game.
No, you play the way you play. That's what y'all do. This is what y'all do game in and game out. You're one of the best at it. Let's go ahead and try it.
Yeah, but getting fourth down conversions in the first and second and third quarter is different than with 7 minutes to go in a game.
Yeah.
It's just a different deal when you do that because right there you don't get it. Mm-hmm. So now Philadelphia, they like, okay.
And there's a chance they miss that field goal too.
Okay, I'll take the chance. I'll take the chance on missing it. I'll take the chance on missing it.
I mean,
at least we went for it.
I'm agreeing with what they did on the play. Jayden McDaniels. I mean, this is my quarterback.
It is your quarterback.
Like this is my quarterback.
You said yesterday that he's
guy.
a top 5 quarterback. Do you still think that Jayden is top 5?
Absolutely. He's just going through a little rough patch. I mean, but just look, there's not 5 quarterbacks that I'm taking over this kid right here. I mean, we know who the big 4 are, and arguably, I mean, yeah, he don't have a track record of a playoff run yet and a Super Bowl like some of these other quarterbacks, high-titled quarterbacks, but you either got a Super Bowl or you don't, as far as I'm concerned. And when I look at this kid's ability and what he's done and turning around the culture and the play style of Washington, I mean, you look at the eye test, I want this kid to be my quarterback right here, moving forward, more so than Jalen Hurts, let's say.
You know,
think about this. If you put Jalen Hurts on a Philadelphia team.
You mean Jayden Daniels?
I mean, Jayden Daniels. If you put him on Philadelphia with Saquon Barkley, man, that's a whole nother team. We know that. We know that. Come on now.
Calm down, Paul.
Jayden is great.
Come on.
Jayden is great.
Nah,
he's having a great season.
You know, he is playing phenomenal. And you and I talked about it yesterday, Joy. You're going into a hostile environment.
Yep.
In a situation that you're prone to make a key mistake in the game. He threw an interception late in the game.
Yeah.
That's a key mistake. But that's okay. He can learn from it, bounce back on it. Those other receivers have got to get open. They struggled to get open all game long for the most part. They just struggled. Now, he didn't have a big statistical game, but he played solid enough to win the football game, despite the turnover and whatnot. As far as top 5 quarterback goes, he's not ready to crack the lineup just quite yet. He will be. He was in the MVP conversation for me. Mm-hmm. You know, over the last several weeks, he started to kind of settle down a little bit from the exciting play on a consistent basis. Mm-hmm. But I think he'll be fine. I'm not worried about him. There's a lot of high expectations for him, especially right now, getting off to the fast start that he has been in. And so
he just sometimes remind us, and we forget that, he's a rookie. Yeah. He's a rookie. You forget, though, right? You look at him like, Yeah, he a rookie.
He definitely has not played like a rookie
I
throughout
know, but we
the
forget.
majority of this season.
For some reason, those receivers last night, they just didn't separate.
Yeah.
They didn't separate enough for him to be able to connect with them. You know, it was a lot of dinking and dunking, getting the ball to the backs.
Well, I mean, they played really well through 3 quarters.
Yeah, they
It's
played
really
well.
Only started to fall apart in the fourth, and you know that's what a experienced Eagles team is going to do to you. They're not, and especially if they're not out of the game, that you have to play all 4 quarters, and that's what happened last night. Subscribe here to get the latest from Speak, and go watch a few segments from our other shows on FS1.